you don't express gratitude and appreciation and thanks to get people to do their best work. But one of the things you discover when people feel seen, heard, valued, and appreciated, they do great work. And
Absolutely.
they will be willing to go the extra mile because they feel a part of something significant.
Welcome back to SEO Leverage. This is episode 122. My name is Gert and I'm really happy to welcome a special guest today, Kevin Monroe.
Hello, Gert. Thank you for inviting me today. This is going to be fun.
I'm absolutely sure it is, because it's going to be a little bit of a different framing today. We are talking a little bit more about personal development. We have had more than 100 episodes now on this podcast, very technical, very tactical, strategic, SEO focused, conversion focused, etc. And the funny thing is now it's been 4 years and a little bit more that we have our agency here. And I see clients have been growing up. Clients have been growing up. They have bigger teams now. They have a different situation. You actually reminded me that we are close to 4 years of COVID, 4 years past COVID started, which is definitely was one of the biggest shifts I have seen in the online world of how we work, how we engage with each other, how we talk to each other. I haven't been in an in-person meeting, I think, in years, and it feels like so distant already.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, look, I'm excited to dive into this. When we, we're just talking a few moments ago before you hit record, you told me the topic, and then I asked, when is this going to air? And it's airing right away. And March 13th, 2020 is when the World Health Organization declared COVID as a global pandemic. And Gert, you know what I mean, we didn't realize at that moment that everything changed, but looking back, everything has changed in a 4-year period of time. I mean, the world is, and I think history will probably record the more significance of the changes than we realized living through it. But our world has changed. And like you said, you haven't even been to an in-person meeting.
It's impressive, really. It's impressive, and obviously you're an expert in personal development, gratitude coach, consultant, a lot of experience. I really appreciate you taking the time here. The reason I actually reached out to you because I discovered you on LinkedIn, and there was a phrase on your website that really resonated with me, and exactly over this period of COVID, which was, am I valued? Am I contributing? Is my contribution valuable? Something along these lines. And I was like, hey, this is exactly what I'm trying to bring across or trying to work on with my team. We have a 25 people remote team now, and it's obviously always a challenge because you don't know how people really tick there behind their screens. You might not even have a video call, just chat on Slack or do a Zoom call here and there, have a little bit of an idea based on their voice if they are in a good mood, in a bad mood. It's like a very different framing we have right now. And a lot of my clients, listeners to this podcast, have the same situation. They might have a smaller team, but still 100% remote probably. So I think the situation here and how people feel respected, valued, etc., is a really big challenge.
I think it is. So 2 questions as we get started. And you listening, I invite you to kind of think about this. The phrase that Gert mentioned was, I just believe everybody has this innate desire to feel seen, heard, valued, and cared for or appreciated, whatever word you want to use there. I think in the workplace, it's more appreciated, but am I seen, heard, valued, and appreciated? And so that's one. To what degree are you aware that you process that feeling? So I'm going to put you on the spot, Gert. Do you think about that at some point, right? Am I making a difference?
Yeah, absolutely, every day.
Okay. Then the second question, I didn't prepare you for this, but as you were giving the intro, I'm thinking, wow, I wonder to what extent You're in the SEO business, right? I
Hmm.
mean, is that how you would
Yep.
describe? If somebody asks, what business are you
Hmm.
in? How would you answer that question?
SEO, search marketing, digital marketing. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I heard you say, I think you said you have a team of
Hmm.
25,
Yes.
right? To what extent have you been aware that you're also in the people business?
Uh, I I actually got made aware of this over the years, because when you start, I started out as like a freelancer, doing everything myself. Started to bring in a team, and I said, "Hey, suddenly I'm managing people. I'm not only managing tasks anymore. I'm actually managing people. I'm responsible. I need to hold them accountable. They rely on me. There's a lot of additional dynamics coming in with this."
Yeah, true. I mean, I think one of the things I recognize I learned from my dad, and I don't know if he ever said these words exactly, but every business is a people
Hmm.
business. Every business is either relying on the 25 people that are part of your team
Hmm.
or the people that are your clients, your customers, your vendors, your suppliers. So even if you don't think of yourself primarily as a people business, I got a news flash for you. To some extent, you're in the people business. And when you realize you're in the people business, and then all of a sudden, um, the father of psychology, what was his name? William James said the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, the way he said it's a craving to be appreciated. And that's where I draw this from, that deep within every person is this desire to be seen, heard, valued, and appreciated. And if you're in the people business, and if you're in a leadership role, guess what? You're one of those people that the people on your team are looking to answer that
Hmm.
question. And to the extent that you not just you, Gert, but you listening, right? Any of you that are dialed into this conversation at this moment, why, just I invite you to think a moment. When was the last time you pause, whether this is some kind of informal feedback or formal feedback, but you just told somebody, wow, what you did was amazing. The
Hmm.
work you did on this project, what we appreciate it. And you helped us achieve this level of result. You helped us complete a project on time or early, or I leaned in, all of a sudden the client gave some extra demands, and I pushed those on you, and you rose to the occasion.
Hmm.
If we miss those opportunities to celebrate those accomplishments, to celebrate contribution, our people are wondering, right? And if
Absolutely.
people wonder that long enough, do you care? Do you value and appreciate me? They're going to stop doing their best work.
Hmm.
Now, we don't do this. If you're in leadership, you don't express gratitude and appreciation and thanks to get people to do their best work. But one of the things you discover when people feel seen, heard, valued, and appreciated, they do great
Hmm.
work. And
Absolutely.
they will be willing to go the extra mile because they feel a part of something significant.
It makes a lot of sense actually on how we operate. A few things I learned from my mentor as well was really around making sure they know their job is safe. So depending on what culture you work with, this might be an even more important issue where you say, hey, they really rely on this job in order to bring food on the table. So making sure they know that their job is safe, that they're in a safe position, that they are doing great work. There's no reason to get rid of somebody doing great work. There's a lot of connotations. So I was not aware, honestly, a few years ago about how important the security aspect was for team members because I was mostly doing freelance work. I was responsible for myself and really relying on finding my clients, etc. But just making sure that you take this in, or that I take this aspect into account when I talk to my team, or show them, hey, I started to do individual one-on-one calls with everybody every couple of months. We just have like half an hour and talk just whatever comes up. And this is the best way really to kind of appreciate certain achievements, certain progress, make progress. But then we have the team call as well, where I think it's even more important to show, hey, everybody, look at this person that did an amazing job together with this other person to bring us forward. So also that they know that their position in front of their peers essentially is like some sort of it's like a status elevation, if you want, or like this appreciation that you mentioned, but in front of the herd as well, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there are a couple of things we're going to jump into here based on what you just said. But earlier, you said something, and all of a sudden, I was like, "Wow!" A few months ago, 6-8 months ago, the Gartner Group put out a report, and it was called the Reinvented EVP, Employee Value Proposition. What is it that employees are wanting from their work? What do they want from a work relationship and a work environment? And this is post-COVID, and their belief aligns with what you and I believe. The world's changed, right? The world of
Absolutely.
work has changed. What people want is different. And when you were just talking about this, here are five, they draw this in a wheel, 5 spokes of a wheel of things people want. They want deeper connections. They want radical flexibility. Now, I'm pretty sure radical flexibility happens easy for the people in your environment, right? I mean, that's one of the things that brings people to freelancing and remote work is radical flexibility. They also want personal growth. They want opportunities to learn new things, to try something new, right? They want to grow. They want holistic well-being. And they want shared purpose. They want to be a part of something that's making a difference in the world. Now, what's really interesting, and I didn't ask this, is our podcast totally audio or is there a video element that's
We are
shared as
going
well?
to have a video as well, yeah.
Okay, so there is a graphic in this graphic. So there are these 5 spokes of a wheel. Now, what's fascinating is what they put on the outside of the wheel. And they use these 5 phrases. So for deeper connections, how an employee experiences this or expresses this, I feel understood. I feel understood. For radical flexibility, I feel autonomous. For personal growth, I feel valued. For holistic well-being, I feel cared for. For shared purpose, I feel invested. Now, Gert, what 2 words did you hear consistent in all 5 phrases?
I have a feeling.
I feel,
I
right? It's
feel,
personal.
absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And when I saw this, and I was hosting a session for a group in an IT company. It was Amazon Web Services, their Latin American division, and their senior vice president of HR brought this in. I had just talked about that. What we open with, that people everywhere want to feel seen, heard, valued, and appreciated. And she said, "May I share this?" I had no idea what she's going to share. She put this image on the screen, and when she did this and when I saw those words, right, that this, what people aren't wondering, do I think I'm understood? I believe I'm understood, right? No, what are they? It's a feeling. I feel understood. I feel secure. Right? I feel safe. What things you were talking about. I feel safe in my job. I feel that I have a future here. So that's a question. And one of the things in some of the conversations when you have these one-on-one conversations with team members, you could just ask some questions that open, well, how are you feeling about your work? Right? Where are you feeling that you're finding joy, or where do you feel frustrated? Those are, but I was so drawn that the phrases used by the Gartner Group, to express what people want. They want feelings, and the feelings understood, autonomous, valued, cared for, and invested.
I think this actually resonates a lot again with something I had to actually learn over the years a little bit. Everybody is obviously selfish first. I would say naturally everybody needs to make sure they are cared for and then their families, etc. So this is where this comes in, but also this feeling just reminds of this emotional component, right? So we are very technical. It's like everything is a process, everything is a machine. Google is a machine that acts this way. We have to act that way. We ask the machine, what do you want? Because then we give it to you pretty much. It's like very, I think our environment is very technical, right? So it's very easy, and especially in a remote environment where you don't see the facial expression of this person today because they had a rough night with their baby or something like this. I feel that this human aspect is very easy to forget in this remote setting that we have now. Because ultimately we are all in touch, in our case, in Slack. We use a chat, text-based Slack chat, which is the primary means of communication on top of some video calls, etc. But it works really well. But you're losing a lot. You only have the words. You decide how you read them. There's no intonation. There might be an emoji helping you out once in a while, but there's no emotional aspect, right? So, and then you see a person not performing so well a few days in a row, and then you really need to make sure you search. I just had a situation today where I just reached out and say, hey, I know something is going on, because the performance is just not as it used to be, and the response time are not the same, and you have different criteria. We have to learn how to figure out what's going on for a person, potentially to open up a dialogue or give them like this space to talk about their problems, because in the text chat it's not as easy as saying, hey, I'm really having a rough day, like you would in an open office, and say, what a day am I having, right?
Yeah. And what's going on? What are the things? What else is going on in your life?
Mm-hmm.
And what's really sad, okay, so we kind of made this distinction pre-pandemic, and the world's changed since then. One of the things I think people have realized, and it was kind of foolish that we ever thought this, but there are people that think this, that you can compartmentalize your
Mm-hmm.
life. Now, I will say, those of us that are males, we might find it easier to compartmentalize things. I don't know if you've ever seen this. There's some talks out there. They're funny talks, humorous talks, when they're talking about relationships between male and female. Guys' brains are like waffles. They're all these neat little boxes. And women's brains are like spaghetti. Everything's intertwined together. And a guy can be just, we can compartmentalize ourselves, but we really can't compartmentalize life completely. If things are spinning out of control in your family, and that could be because of the health or well-being of a parent or a grandparent or a child, a niece or a nephew, right? All of a sudden, you can't be unaffected by that. You're just not. And so the other part, going back to Gartner, and you picked up on the word, I love that the word, the human deal, right? So this whole idea, uh, I also get involved in some conversations about the future of work, right? And what's happening with AI. And these things are all happening. And I don't believe it's one or the other. I just believe we're going to see a polarization. I believe we will see a lot of companies use technology to become much more human friendly and human focused workplaces. And a lot of companies will use those same technologies to minimize the role of human contribution because they don't value people. So it's not what the technology, it's not what the properties of technology, it's how we apply it and how we use it. Right. And so I hope more leaders are leaning into technology to free people to do the work that fascinates them, to free up people from doing mundane tasks that a machine can do, but allow them to do the creative task that they really want to do, things that excite them. So this becoming more human. Now, there was one other thing that hit me. that I want to make sure we bring into this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There's an excellent book. It was first written as a book as The Five Languages of Love by Gary Chapman. And then some years later, he entered into a partnership with an organizational psychologist, and they rewrote this as The Five Languages of Appreciation in the workplace. And it's fascinating. I'll just hit these real quickly because not everybody wants to be appreciated in the same way.
Yeah.
And so part of this is really valuable. If you're a leader, find out, discover the people that are on your team. What's their language of appreciation? So the 5 words of affirmation. Some people want to be praised, quality time. Other people value the gift of quality time, mentoring. That would be a huge gift to somebody who values that. Acts of service, tangible gifts, and appropriate physical touch, high fives, hugs or something, but appropriate physical touch. All of that is interesting. And I tell this in the context. Recently, I met a woman who's a researcher, and she's on a 3-person team. And they had just, I call it the case of the mysterious case of the purple earbuds. Purple earbuds. They weren't AirPods, earbuds. One day, she receives a gift from Amazon, no gift receipt or anything, just a package of purple earbuds. She's like, I didn't order purple earbuds. I wonder what this is. And she finds out a colleague had received some pink earbuds. And they, through Slack, they're chatting and found out, I got this. And then they remembered a few weeks back, their boss asked, what's your favorite color?
Yeah.
One's pink, one's purple. And then the third member of the team was out of town. This was in New York City. He's out of town. And by the time he comes home, his package had been stolen. He never got his, whatever color his earbuds were. But the point, these were the boss's favorite earbuds. And so he thought, I want to show appreciation to the people on my team. So I'm going to find out what their favorite color is, and I'm going to gift them my favorite earbuds in their favorite color. And none of the 3 even wanted them. The lady I was talking to, she said, I have a set. They're the best earbuds I've ever used. I don't want another one. She gave them to her mother. So right here is what happens when you don't understand the appreciation language of the people on your team. You give them a gift that means something to you, and it meant nothing to them, and the impact is lost. You're smiling. You've seen something like this.
I've definitely seen it. I can totally relate where the idea comes from. It's when you have a team, you just want to make sure everybody feels valued. You do something that's actually really efficient. You try to make a personal effort and say, I actually make an effort and give them what I think that is going to be a fit, and they're going to use it, and then it's not just not landing. I definitely had these examples as well, but I like yours better. But it is interesting, and it's actually really hard in a remote environment, I think, to figure out this preference for appreciation. So I definitely could, like, just while you were talking, I was going through the last team conversations I had one-on-one. I absolutely know who would be a quality time person. An increase in salary wouldn't mean the same as talking about her private issues for half an hour with me, because she's got nobody to talk to. There is another person that definitely needs a monetary feedback, where it's absolutely money that shows how much we appreciate. This is all that counts. And you have those different preferences, and then you have probably half of my people I couldn't say, even after a couple of years minimum that everybody has been around, I couldn't really say what their preference is.
So but you could ask, right? You could
Mhm.
just kind of weave this into some
Mhm.
conversations, or tell me about a time when you were recognized and it felt real good. What
Yeah.
happened, right? What was done? And that's using a technique called appreciative inquiry,
Mhm.
asking people to share a story about a high point experience, right?
Mhm.
And people will go there. People will tell you,
Yeah.
when did you feel really valued on a team before?
Mhm.
Oh, and then you can extract from that. Here's what they want.
Yeah.
Here's how, and how could I do that? And I love leaders that find this information out months in advance of needing it, not
Mhm.
just the day that they're going to place an order,
Yeah.
right? And then when somebody does something, you kind of know and you go, "Oh, here's what I could do that would really be a remarkable act of gratitude to them
Mhm.
and appreciation." And, so I remember a time when I was first in the sales environment. Um, I was the only married guy on the team. Everybody else was young, single. And when we would have sales contests, there would be things for a night out at the club, right? And these kinds of, and I'm like, that's not really
Yeah.
motivating me. What I would love would be babysitter for a night and dinner with my wife, right? And my wife would love that. It's those kinds of things.
Mhm.
So I know we're probably drawing close to the end of our time.
Yeah.
People want to be seen, heard, valued, and appreciated.
Mhm.
You, as their direct leader in whatever role that is, you're the best poised and position to give that feedback to them. And when you let people know, and you express messages of thanks, appreciation, or gratitude. I call them tag messages, right?
Mhm.
Thanks, appreciation, or gratitude. You use Slack. Maybe you would, I know of teams that have created a gratitude channel on
Mhm.
Slack, and maybe once a week, or and or sometimes more frequently. Hey, what's the best thing that happened to somebody today? Right? Let's just celebrate.
Yeah.
Or what are you thankful for? Or what have you enjoyed? Any of these kinds of questions. uh, That those give those little moments of
Mhm.
breakthrough, these lifts, and people. It gives people a feel good.
Yeah.
And then when you start making that a part of your culture, the other thing I would share, when you host team meetings, I don't know what it's like in your, you listening, your team meetings. I know most of the meetings I've been part of through the years, they usually start with what's going wrong right now. And we start with talking about the worst thing that's happened, the fire we're trying to put out, all of these things. What if instead you just take a moment and go, "Hey, what's the best thing that happened to us as a team, to you as an individual since we were together last?"
Mhm.
Right? And you source, when you do that, there are a couple of things that happen. You source positive energy. And
Mhm.
when you source that positive energy, you're unleashing creativity so that when you come to address this problem that you need to address, there's a greater sense of possibility rather than doom and gloom.
Mhm.
So, some
I think
tips there.
this is really great. I'm making and taking a lot of notes. I'm definitely going to think of this a lot. I do enjoy a lot the one-on-one time I have with my team members, where it's just like it's just nothing really matters. Like no task matters. It's half an hour we have together. It might be 20 minutes and we are done. But it's like those off work check-ins that you would have at a coffee machine probably if you're in a bigger office. Like
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
trying to recreate this. I think team meetings for us is always making sure everybody's aware of where we're going, because addressing problems in a 25 person Zoom call is not my cup of tea. I think it's
Good.
much smaller groups that can be more efficient, or even one on one, or with the 2 or 3 people involved. We usually make sure everybody knows we're in a good place. We're safe, paying a lot of attention, I think, to making sure everybody knows there are no issues coming up. We're not losing 10 clients in a row, which might obviously raise a lot of questions. We do a team training. So there's always one member of the team presenting something so everybody learns something. And then we discuss it a little bit. And this is usually the team call we do for right now every week. But there is a lot of information in there that gets me thinking how we can frame this better.
Yeah. So let's invite people to do something, to take action right now. When you finish listening to this podcast, what if you pause and you take 2 minutes and you think of someone on your team, or whether this is your work team or your home team, your personal team, that's done something that made you smile, done something. Well, here's the way I usually say it: that's made your life better or your day brighter, right? They did something that either brightened your day or lightened your load. Pause now and send them a message, whether you send them a Slack
Mhm.
message, a text message, a WhatsApp message. What if you just pause and take 60, 90, or even up to 2 minutes and send that message and go, hey, I was thinking about you. Thank you for doing this. I promise you, there's probably like a 95% chance you're going to get a very positive response back. Goes,
Mhm.
wow, thank you. You made my day.
I do this one
And
sometimes
then what
with
if you do
videos in
that?
the park while I'm walking the dog. I might just remember somebody, record a quick video where I express the gratitude, send it over to them, and they definitely it's very much appreciated.
It is. It
Mhm.
is. And I love what you just said. I do this using LinkedIn
Mhm.
because you can send an audio message and the audio
Mhm.
message has a 60-second limit.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I'm out on a walk and I go, for the next 5 minutes, I'm just going to think of 5 people and send them a short message. And they always respond. And it's always an uplift to people. So we all have that opportunity. And it's not a super heavy lift.
Yeah.
Right? If you just do 1 or 2 messages a day, send these and let people know you see them, you
Mhm.
value, you appreciate them, you care for them. There will be ripple effects.
I love it. There's so many fascinating action steps we can take away from here. We are definitely going to summarize them as much as we can over at seoleverage.com/podcast. This is episode 122. We are talking to Kevin Monroe, getting a lot of interesting advice here and interesting action steps. I want to I'll ask you very briefly if you could talk about the 5-day challenge you have on your website. I found this really interesting. I didn't get around to do it yet, but I'm going to sign up later today. What is this all
Okay.
about?
So, well, a lot of our work is all around hosting events. And 2 years ago, a friend of mine said, Kevin, you're missing an opportunity. I said, what's that?
Mhm.
He said, if somebody wants to start right now, what can they do?
Mhm.
And we ended up creating what we now call it the beginner's guide to growing gratitude.
Mhm.
And it's just a 5-day fast start. It
Mhm.
walks you through in just a couple of minutes a day, introduces you to the concept of gratitude, introduces a simple framework. The framework we teach, it is so stinking simple. Pause, notice, express.
Mhm.
If you want to grow gratitude, it starts by pausing. And what do you do when you pause? You notice whatever. So we walk you through that, kind of introduce that. It's a totally free offer, 5-day course, beginner's guide to growing gratitude. We'd love to make that as a gift to you, and we'd love to hear what happens to you as you begin your journey, whether you're beginning your journey for the first time or starting a new journey with gratitude. We'd love to help you, guide you to grow gratitude.
This is amazing. We're definitely going to link to this in the show notes to this beginner's guide. Thank you so much, Kevin, for taking the time to talk to us today. Definitely great to go a little bit of a different direction with this podcast. I would love some feedback from the listeners if this personal development area is something you want to know more about. There are so many interesting people like Kevin with a lot of experience on how to run a better team, how to be a better leader, how to actually make sure everybody feels appreciated, like we learned today. Like I said, seoleverage.com. Kevin Monroe. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you. What a joy to be your first out of the norm. And let's do something different. Let's talk about growing people.
I love it. Thank you.